make vintage Nitro great again, one startup at a time. What's up, Nitro gang? This is a vintage Nitro. It's a Thunder Tiger TS-4n. The road to resurrecting a vintage Nitro. Nitro World Order.
Nitro World Order.
Let me give you the history on this, and then I guarantee you we will fire this up. I picked this whole thing up for $100. I didn't know the condition, I didn't know the shape. All I saw in the picture when I first purchased it, and take a look at it, it looked quite great. I saw that it had the sickening HPI G3.0 motor sticking out here in the back. But guess what, guys? Currently I have another motor in the car, don't I? That's right. Luckily for me, the seller did include this original motor as well. This box, it really isn't that exciting. It has nothing to do with it. I just wanted to show it to you because I like the box art. This is a 1988 electric pan car. The Nitro was in this box. Of course, I'd rather have the original Thunder Tiger box, but you can't have it all, right? You just can't have it all. So let me give you the history, the rundown of what went down. I picked this up. I thought it had a sickening upgraded HPI motor. Turns out the owner didn't install it correctly. And there's a couple reasons why. When I remove the chassis, we'll take a look at the current engine setup, what is going on. If you notice, there's also a carb right here in my hand. This is the original carb from this Thunder Tiger .15 engine. You're probably asking yourself, why is it in my hand and not on the car? Well, that's because it's missing this entire rotary linkage. You see that here on the side? There's nothing. So it looks like the owner probably could not get spare replacement parts and decided to go with a very nice HPI G3.0 engine. The mistake he made, you cannot use the stock mounting hardware, meaning the stock clutch belt, the stock flywheel. These things don't fit on modern engines if you're using vintage early 2000s hardware. That's the problem. And that is a massive issue that I ran into. It came with the Spectrum radio. This is not one of the best radios, but whatever. It seems to be running okay. Let's remove the body, guys, and I'll show you what we're working with. And then we're gonna fire it up, because we all came here to see a Nitro run, didn't we? Well, I know I did. Here we go. Vintage 2000s. Probably, even maybe this was sold as a almost ready to run kit with the .15 engine. Most of these came with a .12, but I looked on the side of this block. This is actually the original .15 size engine for this car. This is the original pipe this car came with. It looked like a metal tuned pipe, but it's actually plastic. A little bit surprising, but that's okay. This is a 3-belt drive setup, very similar to the HPI RS4 and the Nitro 4Tech. And in fact, almost every single other 1/8 scale Nitro on-road. A single speed setup. There were 2-speed models available, but you know what? I'm a little bit happy this is single speed. That means less things to go wrong. Unfortunately, we can't yell 2-speed baby on this one. We have a gear brace here that's quite thick, from the spur gear to the lay shaft on the third center drive belt. Well, I don't want to call this the third center. It's basically this long front drive belt. Unfortunately, there does not seem to be a factory belt tensioner on this belt, but the belts seem to be okay. The car rolls forward and back quite nicely. There is some friction and tension on the system, but I think what happens with these older RCs is the brake calipers. Something happens with these plastic parts when they're exposed to nitro, oil, and fuel over time. The plastics tend to swell, and over time there's really nothing you could do, no matter how much you adjust the brake pads, and I've adjusted as much as I can. The brake rotor is almost always slightly engaged. Take a look at the servo that I pulled out of it. You see anything wrong with it? Well, take a look at those wires. That's right, the guy tried to basically wire a servo himself like this. That was the end result. It actually sucks because these Futaba servos are not half bad. I've had to replace it with a more modern servo. I might wind up getting another one, but this is just for testing. We have the original high-tech throttle servo. It's quite good. I would say it's actually a little bit fast. For this video, I've went with just a 4 AA pack receiver battery. You can install a hump pack, and many people do that. So let's do this. Let's test out the electronics on this vintage Nitro before we fire it up, and we'll go from there. All right, here we go. The car is on. Let's check out the servos. Okay, so this is a rotary carb linkage. If you take a look at the motor that the seller had installed in the car, this is a slide carb linkage. That means you cannot possibly install a slide carb system using the linkage that is originally meant for a rotary carb. They just do not have the same geometry. They don't move the same way. You just cannot do it. I don't know what happened. Maybe he tried to remove this rotary carb linkage from here and try to somehow put it onto this motor. But the thing is, this is a modern motor. Everything here is different. This, in fact, even uses an engine collet. And these motors do not use collets. They use what's known as drive washers. So as I was assembling this motor, take a look at this picture. I took some pictures along the way on what I had to do to make this vintage Nitro actually run. These old motors, they use drive washers instead of engine collets. That's this gold thing here on the end of the crankshaft. Needless to say, it didn't run with this motor at all. There was so much friction, I could not even move the car back and forth. Currently, the gear mesh is very good. As I spin the spur gear, we have very good gear mesh, no gear wear of any kind that I can tell. Now, another situation, and I'm only pointing out some of the most obvious, really bad situations. The fuel tank. This is the original fuel tank. It's not in the car. It looks like it has a bunch of cracks, and there's something jiggling around on the inside there. For whatever, it doesn't really matter. We're gonna get rid of it. Okay, well, the seller put in a newer fuel tank. The only good thing about this fuel tank is it does hold a very good vacuum. I did check it, no leaks at all. Notice the way it's mounted in the chassis. It is sitting positioned not horizontal, so it's not flat on the chassis, and that's really bad. You want to know why that's bad? Well, the fuel pickup is this clear fuel line. The fuel pickup is all the way in the back of the tank. That means as you're running, your fuel pickup is always going to be not the optimal position for getting fuel to the motor. So if you're running a little bit low on fuel, I would say below 1/4 of a tank, you might not have the most optimal pickup, and you're going to experience a lean run situation, which is not good. Now, other than the incorrect crooked mounting, notice there's screws here on top. So how is this thing like screwed in, right? There's no screws. Well, the owner super glued it. There's a bunch of super glue right there on the chassis. A ton of super glue. It's sickening, actually, if you ask me. I'm not going to remove it. This is probably the worst tank mounting I've ever seen. But you know what? We only care about the fact that it actually runs. And he also put it really close here to the motor. But it looks like it's runnable. There's probably nothing wrong with it. I think if he did move it more towards this direction, it might interfere with the way the pipe is mounted. It's highly possible. Steering, I'm going to show you guys the steering. I don't know if it's me, but like the steering throw on this chassis is really bad. I don't think it's the servo, because I've used these servos that I'm using for steering in many cars so far. The steering throw, look at that, side to side, the angle, I think that's like 30 degrees or something. It's probably the lowest steering angle I've ever seen in my life. Suspension wise, I haven't done anything to the shocks. Here we go. Suspension is really good. You can't kill it. That's one of the things I will admit. You cannot kill this suspension, guys. In the rear end, it's also quite adequate, and I am fairly happy with the ride height here. So this thing came with aluminum oil-filled shocks. Nice touch, but they're not threaded bodies. So more high-end cars like the Trinity at this time, they did have threaded shock bodies. Top-down view, you know, it's aluminum upper deck design. We have a small chassis brace here in the back. Basically, this is kind of the same exact layout as the RS4 of the time period. You know, when I say that, the engine is mounted in the same direction as the original HPI RS4 too. Question is, how's the motor? The compression is actually quite fantastic. I am highly surprised. I don't know why the seller tried to install this motor It seems like this one is perfect. Probably just wanted to spend a little money, you know. It happens, I've done that. It takes a little while for you to learn not to try to kill your nitro, but sometimes people do try to kill their nitro. Now the body this car came with, I didn't talk much about it. This is the HPI RS42 body that I think was probably one of the best looking at the time. This is the Ford F-150 flare side. I don't know if the Lightning was out yet. I don't think this is the Lightning. No, it might be the Lightning. I don't know. It might be. The body is in fairly average condition. There are some cracks, but what are you gonna do, you know? It's a crack fest. The body does look okay. Shall we fire it up? Make vintage nitro great again, one startup at a time. Let's fire it up. By the way, I'm testing out this old Team Losi Racing glow driver. This was included. You know, I'm on a little glow driver testing journey. Twist lock also, very usable. Check this out, guys. Now that is what you call a nice start. Who's nitro start like this? Nobody. It's incredible, guys. Look at that idle. You just cannot kill it. The smell of nitro fuel in your face. Better than a nice toasted bagel. And by that I mean any Arma. Way, way better. By the way, one thing I don't think I talked about is, well, what carb am I using? Nobody asked me about the carb. Guys, we're gonna talk about this whole car while it's idling, okay? What do you think about that? Well, I actually wound up using an HPI 15SS carb that I had laying around from another RC deal. You can't kill a freaking nitro carb. Look at this sickening idle. It's incredible, guys. It's incredible. I cannot believe how good it is. Man, the turning radius is so bad I can't even actually turn. Alright guys, it's running great. The engine is super cold. I like it. It's nice. Let's take it out on the road. Running nice. I'm not doing speed runs, guys. This is just testing. Check the brakes. Brakes are great. Incredible brakes on this chassis. Now that is throttle response. You can't kill a nitro, guys. They tried, but they couldn't do it. think about that? Like I said, you cannot kill a Nitro. And this vintage Thunder Tiger is back to life. Thank you guys for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, support the channel. Help me put more vintage Nitros back on the road. I'm inhaling a lot of rich 30% nitro fuel right now. See you later. Boom. If you smell what the Nitro gang is cooking.
Girl so fine, but her breath is like, ooh. She say she wanna dance, but she don't know how to move.
Nitro World Order.
Nitro World Order.